So in this video, I am joined in the back of a Rolls Royce by Leighton, who is one of my amazing Amazon FBA mentorship students. Now Leighton had literally never heard of Amazon FBA until around 6 months ago when he saw me post my own results on social media and decided that it was the business model that he wanted to get involved in. In that 6 months, he has already scaled to having £1,500 profit months alongside working a 9-to-5 job, and he intends to sell over £100,000 worth of goods on Amazon in 2025. Now, usually I have these conversations online, just over video call, but I really enjoyed doing this one in person and meeting Leighton. So I hope you guys enjoy it as well. So without further ado, let's get into it. So yeah, Leighton, when it comes to Amazon FBA, kind of how did you get started? What made you want to kind of get started with it?
So I looked a little bit online into it. I saw your mentorship course. It wasn't anything I had any experience in whatsoever. I work a 9-to-5, so it was a completely new space for me. I saw your mentorship program. It was very appealing. So I went ahead with that and just thought I'd dive straight in. I had no experience whatsoever. I didn't know anything to do with Amazon FBA other than a few small YouTube videos. That's pretty much my knowledge about Amazon FBA before I started, to be fair. I was pretty, like I said, I was brand new to the scene, so yeah, that's pretty much what made me go into it. I saw your mentorship program, I saw your results on Twitter, for example. It just seemed like a great business to get into. Online businesses are great.
Yeah, most definitely.
As you very well know.
Yeah, I've always done Amazon, always done online businesses, obviously most recently Amazon, and it's probably the best thing I've ever done. I mean, it's just the automation that you can kind of have with it, being able to just outsource so much of it to people abroad and, you know, people like Alex that, you know, run the warehouse and the prep center. So yeah, it's brilliant business. I mean, so far, so you started what, like 6 months ago?
Yeah, 6 months I'd say. I'm 6 months into the business.
What sort of profit are we looking at so far in 6 months?
I think I'm 4,500 profit so far.
Not bad.
But I did have a few months that are a little bit slower, just sort of taking time to learn. But I'd say I had 2 months where I was sort of at the 1,500 mark, so that makes up for a lot of my profit there. I sort of took a slower approach to Amazon than maybe some people would. Didn't really buy as many products at the start, just sort of wanted to ease myself into it. But definitely picking up the pace now. I had a few issues with some VAs I outsourced some bits quite early, so I've had a few issues the last month or two, but it's nothing that's really affected the business too much. But yeah, I'm happy with where I am. There's not many businesses you can jump into where you've hit 30k sales in 6 months.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, being able to just like do, I mean, £1,500 profit in a month is crazy for a business that you literally didn't even know existed.
Monthly wage, you know, that's a minimum wage job there, you know.
Yeah, it's banging.
And to be able to do that on the side, so I myself, I work a 9-to-5. I actually work at Home Bargains as well. So this is like a bit of a side hustle for me. It's not really something I do full time, but you know, to even be able to make, you know, 1,000 a month just extra, it's great. It's definitely great.
Yeah, I think that's what's so good about Amazon FBA, because you're able to kind of work as much or as little. You can kind of take my approach to it, where I was working from the start. I was like, yep, I'm going to do 18 hours work a day and go full throttle and kind of not do anything else except Amazon and just, you know, stay in my flat working all the time. Or you can take your approach and be a bit more relaxed, just kind of do an hour here, an hour there, whenever you kind of have the time. Obviously, and you can still make money with it. Yeah,
with the months where I've done a lot, I did put a lot more time into it, but as you said, I have sort of took a slower approach to Amazon than maybe some people would. That's just because I don't really have as much time. But like I said, to even be to even have the chance to make, you know, an extra 1,500 a month is great. You know, I only sort of do like 30 hours at my job. So it gives me a little bit of freedom to do a bit of Amazon on the side. It's not really something I want to pursue full time, but you know, depending on how it scales up, you never know where it might lead. Yeah, I think that's the good thing about Amazon as well. It's just such a scalable business so quickly.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of different routes you can also think about in the future. I mean, once you've got that kind of e-commerce experience,
exactly.
Can go into all sorts of things, start doing Shopify, TikTok shop, whatever.
TikTok shop's great. I've been hearing that blowing up a lot.
Yeah, start that as another little side hustle.
Just as well as networking as well, you know, just learning about the space. Like, you know, a lot of people that do Amazon also have other businesses. All Things Prep, for example, you know, he does Amazon and he has a prep center, as well as, you know, a few other little businesses on the side. So, you know, just networking with people like that is just such a great way to sort of get yourself out of the just 9-to-5, which is sort of what I'm trying to do now.
What would you say is your most profitable product? I mean, you don't have to get too specific, also you don't want to give out your best seller, but like, is there any particular product you've sourced that is like,
are we talking profit per unit, or are we going ROI wise?
Let's do profit per unit.
I think 250 profit actually. It was a tech item. I'm not going to get too much into it, but I tend to focus more on tech. I like the higher sort of priced items, you know.
Yeah, same with me, really.
You know, 350 profit per unit you can find on some leads. I've yet to find any like that, but you know, I'd say my profit per unit average is about £150
per unit.
That's
pretty good.
Recently, I've been steering a bit more towards some lower price items. I just sort of want to get the volume there. I just found I wasn't spending as much as I wanted to be. Yeah, I'd say 150, but you know, recently I found a product that was a £5 cost price. It's 240% ROI. I think I sent it in the Discord. It's selling for £25. The sales aren't great, but I mean, I can sort of just sit on it. There's really low comp, you know, 230% ROI is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, with that sort of ROI, I'd be more than happy to sit on it for a few months if needed to sell it.
£10 profit per unit on a £5 cost is, you know, that's great.
Yeah, so those nice little flips it can make you a lot of money. Yeah, I mean, speaking of the Discord group, it's been great. You've been so active in it, I've noticed, out of like a lot of people. I can usually tell pretty early on when someone does the mentorship program whether or not they're actually going to do well in it, just from how active they are.
And engaged.
Like, if they're just if they book one call after like 2 weeks and then I don't really hear from them again for a month or two, I'm kind of thinking like, okay, this guy's probably not gonna like do that well off it, because they're just clearly not putting in the effort. Like, I do think that some people think with like online courses and like my mentorship program, things like that, that the work's done once you pay for the course, but that's it's like the opposite. It's like that's when the work's just started. Like, the hard bit is not signing up and paying for the program. The hard bit begins once you've done
the work in. Yeah, so that's why I sort of took the slower approach. I've just wanted to make sure that like I'm fully comfortable.
I mean, yeah, obviously you've just been super active, always sending in leads, always booking in the one-to-ones. I see you on like every single group session, which is great.
Yeah, but, there's always stuff to learn. Like, I think that's the good thing about Amazon, you know, you always learn something from someone. That's why I try and be as active as I can, you know, try and help people out, you know, they help you out in return. But yeah, like I said, I've took a bit of a slower approach. Just, I want to be as comfortable as possible, especially when you're spending some of the sums you're spending. I think I sent in the Discord, I've managed to do a few like free 4K purchases in like one buy, which is crazy to think about, you know, that I'm that confident in sort of 6 months to be able to go and spend, you know, £3,000-4,000, you know.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money to me, you know, like I said, coming from a 9-to-5 job, my savings aren't exactly like through the roof. So to be able to take that risk so early on, I think has come from the fact that I've done the mentorship. I don't think I'd be anywhere at this scale if I'd started on my own. I think confidence just plays a big part in it, and having someone like you there to sort of guide you through it is a big part in being able to sort of get to where I am so quickly. Definitely possible on your own, but
probably lose a lot more money in the process.
Exactly. Like, I think on my first month I made maybe £200 profit, and that was it. And then I think the second month, which is where I actually started the mentorship program with you, I think I ended up doing maybe like 8K in sales, just from like the sort of sourcing methods you was teaching me and stuff, and just really like diving into the business. So far it's just been steady, you know. I've had my ups and downs with the business, as you do with any, but like I said, I think to get to a point where you're at 30K sales in 6 months is crazy. I don't really know any other business you can do that sort of gets to that point so quickly. Yeah,
there are so many businesses that you can start that are just going to be unprofitable for at least like 12 months, if not longer, whilst you're kind of paying off all the just costs that you have to do with setting up the business. Like, if you're running like a physical, I don't know, like an ice cream store or something, you got to buy all that inventory and you got to rent the store, get a van,
if anything
pay for
goes wrong.
staffing. It's just, there's a lot to it, but with Amazon it's pretty much just the inventory cost. You've got like a couple bits of software, you've got like Seller Amp SaaS and you've got Keeper, but they're only like 15 quid a month. So once you got that, your main cost is just inventory, and as long as you can kind of find the right inventory, then you're all sorted.
Yeah, that I totally agree. I think it is as simple as that. Getting used to the softwares is definitely the most important thing, I'd say. If you're not confident in sourcing and like sort of analysing the deals, you are going to lose money. It can be quite hard sometimes to tell if a deal's good or not, but I think definitely that's why the mentorship as well is great. You know, it gives you that confidence, gives you the, you know, you've had years of experience now. So I think sort of going into it by yourself, you probably would make a lot more mistakes than having someone teach you, which I think is great.
Yeah, like I've lost all the money on your behalf, finding out what works and what doesn't. And now you don't have to lose all that money.
Bold statement here, I don't think I've sold a single product at a loss so far in 6 months. Yeah, I don't think I've sold.
That's quite impressive, actually.
Yeah, I don't think I've sold. I think break even, I think it was 20p profit. Maybe I lost.
Technically a profit still.
Maybe I lost on shipping. Obviously, shipping's like, you know, averages at about £2 per sort of shipment. Maybe I lost on the shipping, but I don't actually think I made a loss yet.
That is pretty good. Yeah, you're doing well.
Once again,
doing well.
you know, another great part of Amazon. What other business really do you have where you haven't made a single loss yet?
Yeah.
Maybe I've got lucky, who knows? But I definitely think maybe me taking a bit of a slower approach to it has helped, you know, sort of guide me through.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that, you know, going back 6 months, you probably weren't thinking you were going to be in the back of a Rolls Royce at any time soon.
No, definitely not.
Talking about your success in the business.
Yeah, I think this year I've definitely got a great projection for myself. I'm really going to focus this year. Like I said, I've started scaling bits of the business. Obviously, I had a VA. Had a few problems, but that's something I'm going to address and sort of get sorted. So I will have a VA again. All things prep, something I'm considering right now. I think it's got to a point now where my mum's getting a bit fed up of the parcels coming in and out the house.
Yeah.
Obviously, I live still with my mum, so a bit annoying for her, especially when I'm not in and there's like great big deliveries of like sort of 10 monitors turning up and she has to carry it all in for me.
Yeah, I think my mum's not really lucked out in that regard because I don't live at home, but I live in a flat, so sometimes I'm not there to take deliveries, and if I have ordered a load of stuff, then there's not really anywhere to put it, so most stuff I still get delivered to my parents and I just go and pick it up. And so despite me not even living there, my mum is still having to accept all those deliveries, and anytime I'm there and the doorbell rings, she's like, oh, it's probably another delivery for you. I think she gets a little bit fed up with it, but it's all right.
I mean, the other thing is as well, is just small things as well that you don't really consider. Like if you're going on holiday for 2 weeks and you can't pack it, you know, that's a big,
true.
You know, that's a 2 week loss. And if you're sort of averaging 400 like a week or something like that, you know, that's £800 you've lost from just not being able to actually pack the items up. You know, going through a prep centre, I think is definitely the next step in my business.
Yeah, I definitely couldn't travel anywhere near as much as I do if I was prepping. I mean, I probably just couldn't travel at all.
That's what I mean.
I'm
you
off on holiday all the time.
Unless you're going to hire someone, which would be probably way more expensive than going through a prep centre.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I have thought myself about kind of the volume I do. Is it worth it having my own unit, employing my own staff, doing all that? But then it just
comes with its own problems.
Yeah,
and
it comes with its own problems.
Yeah.
I've now then got to deal with staffing. I've got to pay that thousands of pounds a month for a warehouse unit.
Yeah.
I just have to it becomes a whole other list of tasks.
Well, even just the minimum wage salary, you know, with the volume you do as well, like it's going to take them like a full day shift to pack stuff up.
Yeah.
You know, minimum wage going up, you probably have to pay them like sort of £1,000 a month.
Yeah.
If they're working sort of like lower hours, but if they're on a full-time contract, that's a, you know, £1,500 expense there for you just from packing.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'm much better off just paying like the 50p per unit the prep centers charge you, because all of the kind of the overheads and the headaches that it saves you is just kind of brilliant, really.
And that's another great thing about the mentorship program. You sort of give like a detailed plan of like, you know, what things you should scale first, you know, when you sort of do get to that point. Whereas I think, you know, if you're on your own, you can sort of leap into things like that a little bit too early, which can actually negatively impact you. Like I think me getting a VA as early as I did wasn't really the greatest move for me. I think that did impact my Q4 a little bit.
Yeah.
Just from, you know, not really finding too much profitable products. I sort of took a bigger step back from the business than I should have, you know, being a bit too reliant on the VAs. And I think it did actually cause me to make a slight loss. So I think as well, that's something that, you know, I can sort of come to you and say like, you know, do you think this is right for me at this point of time? Whereas if you're on your own, it's sort of like you don't have anyone to go to.
Yeah.
You can maybe join groups and stuff like that, but obviously having someone of your success to ask is, you know, probably the most beneficial thing really from the course.
More than glad to help, of course. So Leighton, you've been doing this about 6 months now, and obviously you're completely new to Amazon when you got into it. So, you know, being that you've had pretty great success, made about 4.5 grand so far, what advice do you have for someone in your position that was just kind of doing a 9 to 5 and wanted to make a bit of extra money? What would you say to people who are kind of thinking about getting started, whether it's like Amazon or another business?
I mean, I'd definitely say start. I think I definitely contemplated it way longer than I should have. And I mean, if there's any time to start, it's just do it.
Yeah.
You know, even if you end up failing, you know, if you can sort of just take a slower approach like I have, you know, it's relatively safe. If you don't give it a go, you're never going to know if you're going to succeed. You know, I never thought I'd be in the position I'm in now, you know, 6 months in. You know, I sort of thought it would be a case of, you know, it might take me a year to even break even. Definitely just starting, putting as much effort in as you can early and just getting on with it. You know, you're not going to make money sitting there.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
It's just the reality of it, you know. If you're going to start anything, you need to just do it. If not, you're not going to start, and that's that.
Yeah, I guess, you know, it's up to you. Or
exactly. There's no one else that can really tell you.
Yeah. It really is as simple as just getting up one day and just doing it.
Obviously, it depends on circumstances and stuff like that. But you know, if it's something you've been thinking about for a long time, I'd definitely recommend the mentorship course. Obviously, I think that's the only reason I started Amazon. I don't think without it I would have been anywhere near where I am now. I think I would have given up a lot sooner.
I guess that's definitely one advantage of it as well, having someone that's like kind of checking in on you, and it's like, all right, have you done what I told you to do a couple of days ago? And then if you haven't,
it's also, you know,
disappointed in you.
You paid for it, you know. At least for me, like when you're paying for something, it gives you way more of an incentive to actually do it. Yeah. Whereas if you're just doing it on your own, you can sort of just get lazy. I'm quite a lazy person myself.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's just so easy, especially if you work a 9 to 5. You know, you come home, like you need to actually sit there and, you know, spend a few hours on the computer learning. It's so easy just to get home and just not do it.
Yeah.
Whereas if you've got a mentorship course, you can get calls booked in and stuff like that. It sort of gives you something to actually do. Like I really look forward to the one-to-one calls, you know. It sort of gave me, you know, I can come home from work and rather than being tired, I think, oh, I've got a call, you know, I need to actually get on, I need to focus. You know, it's so easy to get out of focus when you're just not locked in.
Yeah.
That's the only really piece of advice I can give you, you know, you just have to lock in and just focus.
Yeah, good advice.
Definitely what I'm going to do this year, you know, like I said, my projection for the end of the year, I'm hoping to, I'd say 100k sales.
I'd say it's doable.
Yeah, 100k sales by the end of the year. Maybe not this tax year, obviously. So I'd say April to April, I'm going to do 100k sales. I'd say I want to average a 25% ROI as well. So I think that's doable. I think that's very doable for me. I've made 30,000, you know, sort of taking it slow. You know, I probably haven't put as much effort as I should have, you know, recently. But definitely at the start, you know, getting the effort in, like I spent so much time learning the software and that, like, I'd say I'm super confident right now.
Yeah, I mean, you should be, honestly, your sourcing is great. I mean, this guy, so before we were in this lovely car today, when we were driving up, he was in the back of my car just sourcing products, and he, you know, there was that one that was like £300 profit.
Yeah, £300
sold like
profit.
15 times a month, you know, not crazy volume, but you sell even 5 of those, that's a few grand. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's impressive. Like, you do have a little knack for it.
I've definitely got the business plan, you know, now. You know, I'm ready for the year. I think, you know, when you first start out, it's just sort of getting comfortable and sort of, you know, realizing where you want the business to go. You know, everyone sells different products. You know, you've got beauty, you've got all the different categories. There's so much options. So I think finding something you're comfortable in and just getting the sourcing methods you find work is definitely what you need. And that's why I said about getting the effort in early and just finding what works is just so important. Because if not, you're just all over the place. Like,
yeah, I think sticking with like one niche can be quite good, because then you just really like start to learn about all those brands.
Yeah,
in that
exactly.
Niche, where everyone's getting it from, the best sites to kind of be looking at.
Yeah.
And you can just get really like nerdy about all the data and kind of like
that's
exactly
my plan
the kind of
right
things
now.
you should be buying. Yeah.
Especially with the secret sourcing methods. Obviously, can't go into it here, but
don't mention it.
There's definitely things on there where it's like if you do focus on one niche, you can really speed up the process a lot, which I think is what's helped me scale now. My whole plan right now does rely on those sourcing methods, which obviously I wouldn't have known without you. Yeah. 100k sales is definitely where I'm heading.
That's definitely doable. What would you say, like, has your mum had any sort of reaction to you kind of starting this business? What does she think about it?
I mean, she's definitely happy for me, you know. Obviously the parcels, like I mentioned, she's not too happy about coming in the house. Yeah. My room is like a warehouse right now.
Yeah. All the best online businesses start like that though, like just having your whole house filled with boxes.
Just filled with rubbish. Yeah, no, but yeah, no, she's happy. It's obviously harder for her to understand, you know. I don't think many older people really understand the online marketplace right now. Well, especially my mum. I know there's people out there, but I think it's definitely a younger person thing right now.
Yeah, I remember when I told my mum about it, and she was like, "What do you mean you sell on Amazon? Like Amazon?"
Yeah, no, it's the same
I
as
think
my
she was
mum.
very confused that it wasn't just Amazon themselves, the company selling everything.
Yeah, like, I agree. Yeah, my mum sort of didn't really know anything about it, which, you know, I didn't either. But no, she's been really supportive. You know, it's making me money, so it's not really,
exactly.
Not really much else to say.
Yeah, my parents have a similar kind of approach to it. Like with all my kind of online businesses I've done over the years, they were like at first confused and like didn't really get it.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they could see I was making lots of money from it, they were like, "Oh no, it's all good. You do your thing." And when I told them I was going to drop out of university, I thought that was going to be like a thought they were going to disown me or just
Yeah,
at the least think I was really stupid for doing that.
Well,
but they were really supportive. They were just like, you know what, fair enough, Felix. You've been making money online for like a few years now. You've obviously done really well.
Go for it.
Like if you're already making, you know, 6 figures, why would you stay in university?
Definitely,
yeah,
definitely.
in pursuit of a 9 to 5 to make 30k.
I mean, that's one thing I will say is obviously don't just give up what you have now. You know,
yeah, for sure.
That's one thing I haven't done. Like, I will continue working unless I sort of scale to a point where like I've like doubled my salary. I'm gonna continue working. It's just not really something I think you should do. Obviously, if you want to do Amazon as a full-time job, that's fair enough. But I think if you're working a 9 to 5, you definitely need to be at a point where you've like sort of doubled your sort of salary you was on before if you want to do it as a full-time thing. But I mean, it's everyone's preference. You know, I quite enjoy working still. But I think if I scale to, you know, the 100k sales, I will start thinking about maybe quitting and sort of, you know, having it as my full-time thing. That's what's great about it. You know, you can have it as a side hustle. You can have it as something you just do on a weekend. You know, it all depends on your circumstances and stuff like that. You know, how much capital you've got.
Yeah.
Things like that. But that's the great thing about it. You know, you can sort of come in with, you know, £1,000, you know, a few softwares, and you can just get cracking on.
Yeah, literally. It's really good. I do love Amazon. It's great.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad I got into it for sure.
Yeah, no, it's probably the best thing I've ever done is getting into Amazon, I would say. And yeah, just brilliant, really.
No, it's great.
All right, so that was a great conversation with Leighton, and after spending the day with him, I expect he's going to have a really successful year as an Amazon FBA seller, and he's definitely going to smash that sales target of £100,000 in the next year. So if you'd like to join him in my Amazon FBA mentorship program, head down to the video description and click that link at the top. So I run a 6-month mentorship program that is designed to help you source profitable products and scale your own Amazon FBA business. It consists of 6 hours of a video course, one-to-one calls with me, weekly group coaching sessions, and access to exclusive product leads directly from me and my own sourcing team. So finally, drop a like if you enjoyed this one, and make sure to hit subscribe for more Amazon FBA content from me. And if you haven't already, make sure you go and check out this day in the life vlog that I filmed in the same day with Leighton and Alex, who owns All Things Prep, the wonderful prep center that deal with a lot of my physical side of the business. Thanks for watching, and I hope I'll see you guys in the next one.